Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. We are here for a 2-week update on our temperature blankets, and we are on weeks 15 and 16. So last time that we talked, I hit the 90-degree mark really quick in April, and I had asked you guys if I was to add another color to do the 100-degree or higher, because I only had one color left for the warm and hot colors, what I should get. And the consensus was a burgundy. So I went back on Hobie to look for what colors they have available. And they were so out of stock on this yarn that I'm using. So they didn't have a burgundy, but they did have a really pretty one that's got more of a purple tone to it than a burgundy would. And it's Bordeaux. It's very pretty. But I do have to say, I think this is going to end up being the most expensive blanket I have ever made. Ever. Even more than the quilt that I made. And fabric's really expensive. So altogether, I've placed 4 orders. And if you guys have been following along since the beginning of this blanket, you know that I changed my mind a couple of times. Like at first I was going to do the average temperature, but I wanted to do a comparison between my birth year and the current year on, the differences in climate change. So then I decided, I need to go with the high. Well, I made my first order, and then we got this cold snap, and I panicked and thought, I didn't order enough cool colors. I would have been fine without that order. So I had ordered more. And then I changed my mind that I was going to do the highs and do the comparison of the birth year versus current year. And I placed another order to do, more warm colors. Well, then we hit 90 so fast in the year, like the first week of April. I was like, I'm going to have this giant solid block of just red, which after all these color changes, I'm really not minding those thick blocks of color right now with not having to work in all those ends. But yeah, that just would have been a lot. But this is the red. It's like this nice, deep, dark red. And this is the Bordeaux. It's kind of a wine. But the two colors together actually look pretty nice. So I don't think it will be, too far out of whack. Even when the red hits these, it's going to look a lot different because it's been pretty much yellow and brown tones so far. Anywho, so we got that taken care of. And then when I was getting caught up today, because I have to wait for Saturday to happen to get my last temperature for the week. And I had to break out a new egg yolk. I'm like, I only have one more left after that. I might have to place a 5th order. But so far, this blanket has cost me $232.51. Now, $40 of that is shipping, because each time I've ordered, they've charged me $9.99 for shipping. But even without that, this is going to be the most expensive crochet project I have ever made in my entire life. And yes, I will have some yarn left over that can be used for other projects, but this particular yarn was bought with the intention of making this temperature blanket. So what do you do? I don't know. I sincerely hope I do not have to place another order because I don't think the egg yolk is going to make it through the whole year. And because that's the 75 to 79 range, we'll be probably getting out of that pretty soon here. But then once we hit like October, November, December, we'll be back to using it again. And I don't think it's going to be enough. But I'm going to wait. I don't want to spend any more money on this. So I'm going to wait and see. And hopefully they'll have my color available for me. But anyhow, so we are going to start with the birth year first. And I am still attached with some cognac. So we started off this last 2 weeks with our lowest temperature being 77 degrees and our highest temperature being 88 degrees. And we started right here with the egg yolk, and the rest of the 2 weeks were all cognac and curry. I have plenty of those colors. It's the egg yolk I'm concerned about. So that was the birth year. And then current year, we had a little interesting twist. This year was actually a little cooler than the birth year, instead of this year being hotter. So we started off with, believe it or not, a low of 77. And our highest temperature being 87. But like this past week, if my birth year was 83 degrees, this year was 81. If my birth year was 85 degrees, this year was 83. And it pretty much stayed like that, like an 88 versus an 84 for most of the 2 week period. Not all of it, but most days. So we started off the current year with my ends all hanging out here. Down here with this first row of egg yolk. Because remember, we got to introduce rust the last time. And red comes after rust. And then it would be the Bordeaux. So we started off with the 2 weeks of egg yolk. Had a couple of days of curry. Or 2 weeks of egg yolk. With a day of egg yolk. A couple of days of curry. Another day of egg yolk. And then curry. And then we bounced for the rest of the 2 weeks between curry and cognac. Kind of very similar to my birth year. Pretty much. And I have no shares this 2 weeks. Nobody sent me an email with the picture update and information to share with you guys. I think besides me, there's been some slackers out there. So if y'all are slacking, you better get to it. Get caught up. Get back up to date on this. It's no fun if you get too far behind. Although I will say, the worst part about this whole thing is waiting for the temperature to happen. Because you can't just like sit down and chill with the TV and just work on it and get it done. So I had someone ask me, maybe a month ago, do I regret starting the temperature blanket now? Because now that I was a few months into it, it's like, no, I don't regret it, but I do not like having to wait. I am one of these type of people. When I get the idea in my head and I want to do something, I want to do it right then. And doing a current year temperature blanket. Now, if you're doing historical year, that'd be different. But doing one for the current year, you do not get any instant gratification. And, well, most of crochet isn't instant gratification because it takes a while to work it up, one little stitch at a time. But, yeah. So, if you do want to share your temperature blanket, once you are all caught up, I will drop my email in somewhere in here, and you can shoot me an email, and I will be more than happy to share your temperature blanket. I actually enjoy myself seeing what everybody else is doing and seeing what color choices they made. It's just what stitches they're using. It's really interesting to see the, like, compare and contrast of the different areas. So in here somewhere is my email. Just email it to me and I will share it. I almost forgot the side by side. Okay, birth year is on the left. Current year is on the right. This was the last 2 weeks. And it's hanging off the table, so I can't really show you the rest. And other than that, I worked on a couple of big projects. One of them, some of you I'm sure have already seen, and some of you I think should definitely go check it out. But I made this vintage capelet trying to decipher this 1916 pattern. It was, okay, so Jenna challenged me. She's like, I bet you can't do this. And I'm like, oh, I bet you I can. So she gave me 2 to choose from. And I picked this little capelet. I might still do the other one that she gave me. I'm not sure yet. But I did this capelet, and it was like frustratingly fun to do. Because the picture, you really couldn't get a whole lot off the picture. And the instructions were like totally whack. Just totally whack. Nothing like we are used to today. Like the stitch counts were wrong. You know, I had quite a few false starts because of that. And then when I did make it, you know, you don't really know what hook size to use. You don't know, you know, they tell you what yarn to use, but they don't make that kind of yarn anymore. You know, it's over 100 years old. But you don't know what the size is, so you're guessing at everything. So, like, I got probably more than halfway done. I had the whole yoke done and 9 rows of the ruffle stuff, and I scrapped it and started over. I did. So that took quite a bit of time. And then I worked on this other graph can that is so cute that I'm going to share with you in a different video because I'm not completely finished. I got tired of working in ends, and I got a few more ends to work in, and then I will share that with you guys. And I worked on one other thing that I'm not going to show you yet because I wasn't happy with my color choices. The colors looked great, like setting on my shelf next to each other, but worked up, no. I didn't care for the color. But I plugged away through till I got it almost finished, and I lost it yarn chicken. So there was a couple rows that weren't done. But I'm going to redo that in a video using some better colors, colors that will actually look nice together. And it's a fun project. So I've been working on some stuff, but they've all been big. They have all been big projects. So anyhow, so if you would like to see that vintage pattern that I did, if you click on this link right up here, it will take you over to that video. And we will see you in the next video or over there.